On today's Know Your Rights segment, Catherine Stone from Barbas Law is back to continue our discussion on Social Security disability and how prior jobs can affect the outcome. I have learned so much already about Social Security disability, and I mean, there's still plenty more to talk about.
There's a lot that Social Security is looking at in the whole equation when they're addressing someone who's filed for Social Security disability. And so, you know, we've already talked about the application, the appeals process, and the paperwork. So now, the other thing that Social Security is going to be looking at is, what was the last job that you worked before you became disabled? And does your disability, whether it be your disease or your work restrictions, does that preclude you from going back to work doing that last job? And if it's yes, it does preclude it, then they're going to go back 15 years to all the prior jobs you've had in the past 15 years to see, well, you may have restrictions that precluded you from working that last job, but is there any kind of job that you've done in the past that you could return back to doing with your new restrictions?
So I'm curious, is it like jobs within the same company, or is it like,
no,
so they expect you to go back to even like, you know, 15 years ago working a job that might not even be in that field?
Correct.
Ooh.
So, you know, a lot of times, I mean, I've had some clients come to me and they've, you know, gone to school in between those 15 years and gotten some certification and can do something different, and they were doing a job that wasn't as difficult before. Whatever it may be, they're still going to take a look at, and that's why going back to the paperwork we talked about last time, you're going to get a work history questionnaire usually, and that's why it's going to go back 15 years and ask you about each job you've had, each description, and the sitting requirement, the standing requirement, the lifting requirement. Again, I want to make sure that I'm focusing on, this is primarily dealing with people with restrictions on inability to return to work, and not so much people with diseases, chronic diseases. That's primarily what I'm focusing on with it. But the prior work history, so then if they go and they look, okay, your restrictions now, you can't go back and work any job you've worked in the past 15 years. So now we're going to look at your age. Age is a big factor. There's several different categories on. If you're over 50 years of age, you have to show a certain level of work. If you are much younger, then if you're a younger person, you've got to show you can't even do a sit-down job.
Wow.
Okay. If you're 50 to 54, you've got to show that you can't do a light-duty job. If you're over 54, then you've got to show you can't do a medium job. So it gets easier. The level actually gets easier the older you get to prove disability. It's those younger individuals that have a real hard time showing that they can't sit at a desk. And that's where it becomes their vocational history, what kind of jobs they've done. You know, if someone's been primarily a construction worker and maybe they don't have a lot of computer skills, it's going to be very hard to get that person back into a sit-down job. Again, that's where sitting down with someone that knows the process and knows what Social Security is looking at and how it affects your application is very important, especially the further along down the line you get with Social Security.
Well, I'll say, just spending time with you here, like hearing you rattle off the age groups and hearing you talk about, you know, the different stipulations, I mean, you got to have someone on your side, and Catherine, you'd be the perfect person to do that. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions about, you know, your rights or this in general, well, just give them a call. 1-800-BARBAS-LAW, or you can just go to barbaslaw.com/knowyourrights.
If you're